sufficient power supply in our kitchen area here, similar to Chicago Street, not as bad. But if they want to purchase different or new equipment or add equipment in there, we almost always have to find additional power and run new lines and so on to do that. So that's an issue. Also, the outlets in there are not even GFI outlets, which those are required now for new construction in those kind of areas and so on and so, where they only make sense for safety. In the fine arts hallway down here, lockers we've got down there, those were used when we purchased them and put them in there, and that was when the size of the enrollment in this building, when we moved the 7th and 8th graders over here, because it's now a 7 to 12 building, and so to provide lockers, we had to get some, and they were used lockers when they were put in, and they're really showing their age or wear and tear. Our custodians and maintenance guys spend quite a bit of time in the summer going through trying to, bend them back into shape, making the locks work and the latches work and all that kind of stuff. So those truly need to be replaced. The boiler room, we have 2 major boilers in this building. They are of the same vintage. They were put in together. They work in unison. 1966, so 44-year-old boilers. Once again, they were very good ones when they were put in. There's no doubt about it. But in the next, who knows, 5, 10 years, we'll just do one of these finger-crossing things. When those have to be replaced, that's going to be substantial. If I recall, the boiler that we put in at Chicago Street, and that was about 10 or 12 years ago, was I think $75,000 at the time. And not only that, but they're of the size that we had to take out some of the wall over there to take the old boiler out and put the new one in. We hope we don't have to do that here, but we could very well run into that same thing when the time comes. What they do now with the boilers is most of them come in modular form, where you have, instead of having 2 down there, we might have 5 modular units, and they would rotate their firing, and they would also work in unison, so that 3 of them may be running, if that's all you need, on a mild day, and then all 5 of them might work if you have a very bitter winter cold day and things like that. And my understanding is that they might go in sequence so that it rotates their usage and so on. And Rick, you're probably more familiar with stuff like that than I am, but that's what that sounds like. We talked about brick issues at Ryan's school. Some of those brick, we have some tuck pointing and stuff that needs to be done on our chimney over here at the other corner of the building. Places where some of that's cracked and fallen out. We've got the fascia on this building is almost a ceramic material that was, I don't know how that was, the finish was put on originally, but some of those panels over time with the wind and everything have come loose and fallen off, and we've actually had the guys put them back on, and they've put bolts in them to keep them on there. It was all painted at one time, but I don't know if you're familiar with painting over ceramic and so on. If it gets scratched or starts peeling in spots, then it's going to pretty much peel the rest of it. So got some issues with that as well. For our parking lots out here, particularly in the west, the security, the lighting is not very good. I think there's 1 pole, maybe 2. One pole in that western parking lot. And with nighttime activities and stuff, our schools are used a lot now. It's not just 7:30 in the morning until 3:30 with all the activities and the athletic teams and the community things and so on. So it's not as secure as it should be. I'd like to knock on wood at some point here, because fortunately we haven't had a lot of vandalism and things like that out there, because the cars and things. But occasionally we'll get a key on a paint job or something. But that really needs to be addressed. Again, we've got. This is the building that has the greatest amount of square footage of parking lots. They're all in about the same shape as the other buildings. So when we start looking at this, in fact, I'm sure that we've probably got twice the amount of parking area here than we have in the other buildings, probably even combined. And so when it comes to replacing that, it's going to be a big ticket item. Our tennis courts, we spent out of general fund money this last year about $30,000 to put those back into playable condition. Not great shape, but playable condition. because we do have both boys and girls tennis, and that had to come out of the general fund. We didn't have, like I said, a sinking fund or any other kind of millage for it, so we put about $30,000 into that, and also our track. If we were to tear the track out and replace it, which is going to have to be done one of these days, you know, you're looking at a big ticket, probably $250,000, you know, $250,000 to tear that out and replace it. We put about $35,000 into it this last year to, you know, keep that up. So we are using general fund money, but we're sort of limping along. I feel like we're doing what we have to keep things going, but boy, there's sure some needs that could be addressed if we can pass this. No, I don't think I have. But one of the issues with that is that right now we have 6 lanes. We can replace the remodel because it's number one, it's not a metric. Well, with the bond issue, what we're hoping is there are some things that are on our list that didn't get the number 1 priority, that might be a number 2 priority. And we're hoping that there's sufficient funds there that we'll be able to get into those that will get. And that would certainly double up the top. As you can see, please don't trip on the carpet. This is some in need of replacement, definitely. It is a little bit of a trip hazard and so on. That is delaminated. The surface has come away from the backing. This has been in here between 15 and 20 years now, and needs to be replaced. Also in here, you can see some of the technology that has been added. Our guys did this. We're always looking, like I said, to attempt to control costs as much as we can. We're told that some of the way that this is run and so on with the PVC and all that kind of stuff is not up to code, but we think it's okay. But then again, if they're in and they're doing things and so on, and they get to the point where we really can get the code, then that would be addressed as well. So that's just a couple things in this room.
This roof is good. Does this need any work?
This roof, well, it's all the same material and so on, and on that pink sheet that I handed out, it tells you the age. This roof is out of warranty now, and it was over $500,000 when we did it, and that's been 9 years ago. And when we put a good roof on it, it is single fine membrane where it's all, you know, melded together and so on. And so we think it's good. We had it inspected this summer, and we put some money into it to anything that they saw that was a deficiency. So it's okay, but 5 to 10 years, we're probably going to be needing to address that. We talked about, basically, we have some issues with the bleachers and so on. We attempt to leave the upper ones in and out because, quite frankly, they're heavy old wooden ones, and our guys have to pull them. They're not easy to pull. We have motorized, 11 or 12 years ago, we motorized the bottom of them. Okay? But as you can see, up across the back there of those bleachers and the front railing, the end rails and so on, those could not be installed as new bleachers today because of the compliance issues. And you know, we probably need to have either plexiglass or some kind of mesh across the balcony and close in some of those open spaces like we talked about. Okay.
Bleachers do need to be replaced. Look good from the outside, but all the infrastructure underneath, not so much. And remodeling both of these locker rooms is what's on the program.
Let's step into the locker room. I'd like you to see this. Again, clean and sanitized, but just really seeing its best years. Over here is the entry to the shower room that we talked about, where they've cut out the terrazzo. You can see the barrier that was there. They cut that down. Really, still to get a wheelchair to the shower room would be extremely difficult because of that step up there. You can see, you know, take a look here at the partitions, the arrows, and so on, and the stall there. The lockers,